My daughter's name was Fiona, and growing up, she's a very intelligent girl. In school, she would have been one of the top 3 all through primary school, and everything going grand. She had a little sister 3 years younger, and the normal ups and downs of family life. She started using heroin at 16, and that was like lighting a piece of paper and just watching the flames engulf it. The whole family was plunged into the horror of Fiona's addiction after that. And we had social workers, the guards, the school got involved, and eventually Fiona stayed out all night, different places, and stayed in hostels. Through that, I loved her. I completely loved her, even though her dad and her sister would have been very impatient with her, but I loved her all the way through. And she became pregnant at 18, which was wonderful because she kind of settled down for a little while. She gave birth to a beautiful little baby in the Rotunda, and he was the light in our life, but he was sent to foster care from the Rotunda, which broke our hearts. And I just remember hanging his little clothes on the line, and I said, if I get over this, I live to deal with anything, because he was just so precious, the little boy. But after 3 weeks, Fiona got him back, and everything was going great until she used heroin when he was 3 months old. Or she used cocaine, I should say, when he was 3 months old. And the baby was taken from her again. And he was sent to a wonderful foster family. Fiona continued down a spiral. She was chaotic around drugs, and she would have used cocaine up to 12 times a night. So we had access to the baby, and she had access to the baby, and she was a wonderful mother. I will say that she was absolutely wonderful. But she continued her drug use, and she would have overdosed several times, and she tried to take her own life several times. And also Fiona would go missing for weeks on end, and nobody could tell us where she was because she was over 18 at that stage, and nobody would give her information. The only people that would give me any information would be her friends, fellow drug users on the street, that would tell me that they saw her and she's okay or whatever. They were very, very good to me. And of course, during all that time, I joined family support, which was the best thing I ever did, because there I found friends and people that would support me. And I will never ever forget the weeks we spent in Merchant's Quay, you know, on the quay there on a Tuesday night, and we'd all be there, and people going by and not knowing what was going on in this little room there, that we were all there pouring our hearts out. But anyhow, Fiona went missing for probably a few weeks, and then she got a social worker to ring to say she was coming up to the house. And I said, that's grand, she was very welcome. And she called up that particular night, and she caused uproar in the house, absolute uproar. She said horrible things. Her dad had died 4 months previously. He was killed in a road traffic accident. She didn't want to live, she wanted to be with her dad. He was the only one that ever loved her or cared for her, and we didn't care about her or anything else. Went off anyway, in very, 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 very an acute stage of anger. She went off, and I rang her accommodation where she was staying, but they couldn't tell me anything because she was over 18. So I went off and I looked for her and couldn't find her anywhere. And I came back at about 2 in the morning, and I just remember saying, there's something different about this, and I can't go on living like this. I was completely selfish about it. I can't go on living with the horror that was Fiona, unfortunately. So I went in, I work in a school, I went into school the next day as normal, and when I came home, 2 guards came to see me to tell me that Fiona had died, that she had taken what I didn't know at the time, she spent the night in a hostel, and she was on 80 mils of methadone, and she had taken 900 mils of methadone. I believe that Fiona handed her life back to God because she couldn't continue the way her life was going. I was completely devastated, absolutely devastated. And I remember I went back to work a month later, and I could cope during the day, and then Friday I would go into a church on the way home, and I'd sit at the back of the church because I didn't know what to do. On Friday evening, I didn't know what to do all day Saturday, I didn't know what to do all day Sunday. And I would sit and I'd cry and cry and cry in the church. Because even something like, what'll I get for the dinner, couldn't even focus on how to do anything at all. But I have a wonderful family and wonderful friends, and they carried me through everything, and I have a huge faith. So I miss her every single day. I miss her, she was a great mimic. I miss her coming up the road. I miss her sayings. I miss her expressions. I miss everything about her. Even the chaos. I miss it all. There were days in the beginning, and there's still some days when I think I won't survive the whole thing of Fiona's addiction, and the whole thing of the way she lived her life and her death. I didn't think at the beginning I would survive it, and sometimes I don't think I will now. But friends are great, and I keep very, very busy. And I have a lot of hobbies as well. But at the end of the day, you close your door and you are on your own, and then all these thoughts come in.
If you have in any way been affected by issues raised, please contact the Drugs and Alcohol Helpline on 1-800-459-459 or contact drugs.ie.